Hey everyone, and welcome back. Okay, so I was recently digging into this absolutely incredible business framework from Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers, by way of a brilliant analysis over on the Seekin channel. And honestly, the insights are just way too good not to share with you all. Hormozi's story is literally a game changer. I mean, the guy went from struggling with some serious debt to pulling in over $100 million a year. And how did he do it? By engineering these business offers that are so powerful, they completely rewrite the rules of the game. So in this explainer, we're going to visually deconstruct exactly how that works. Let's get into it.
All right, let's dive right into this. Imagine a business owner coming up to Hormozi and saying, my business is doing okay, we're not really growing, but hey, we're not sinking either. Well, Hormozi's response is a pretty harsh reality check. He basically says a business is either growing or it's dying. There's zero stagnant middle ground here. If you think you're just staying afloat, you're actually slowly sinking. And this slow death, it almost always boils down to two things. Either you don't have enough clients or you just don't have enough cash flow and profit.
So what's the ultimate antidote to that stagnation? It's what Hormozi calls the Grand Slam offer. And listen, the goal here isn't just to cobble together a decent sales pitch. No, the goal is to craft an offer so overwhelmingly valuable, so irresistibly good that your customers would genuinely feel stupid saying no to it. It's about completely taking your product out of that standard race-to-the-bottom price comparison.
To help you get there, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we're going to tackle the commodity problem trap. Then, we'll look at finding your starving crowd, cracking the value equation, building your Grand Slam offer step by step, and finally, the 5 elements of irresistibility.
First up, Section 1. Understanding the primary villain that causes most businesses to fail right out of the gate. We call this the commodity problem trap.
Look, fundamentally, there are really only 3 ways to actually grow a business. 1, you get more customers. 2, you get those customers to spend more money every time they buy, so increasing their average purchase value. Or 3, you get them to buy from you more frequently. Now, these 3 pillars sound super simple on paper, right? But man, they are incredibly hard to achieve in the real world. Why? Because most businesses accidentally turn themselves into basic, interchangeable commodities.
Think about 2 vendors selling plain oranges right next to each other on the street. The customer is just going to look for the cheapest price, right? It instantly becomes a race to the bottom. But contrast that with, say, a smart salon owner who puts together a unique Diwali-free haircut package. Basically, you pay for a premium beard trim or massage, and you get the haircut completely free, backed by a money-back guarantee. There is simply no way you can compare that to the guy down the street selling a standard $10 haircut. That smart owner just totally obliterated direct price comparison by bundling unique value.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, finding your starving crowd. Because before you even try to build that amazing offer, you need the right foundation. There's this classic story of a marketing professor who asked his students, okay, if you were opening a hot dog stand, or let's say a Vodka Puff stand, and you could only choose one single advantage over your competitors, what would it be? The students guessed all the usual stuff, right? The best location, the highest quality ingredients, the lowest prices. The professor just smiled and said, no, the only advantage you actually need is a starving crowd. Think about it, if people are literally starving, they do not care if the food is overpriced or even if it tastes a bit off. They're going to buy it anyway.
So how do you actually find this crowd for your business? Well, there are 4 key indicators you need to look for. First up is massive pain. Picture a desperate guy with a brutal toothache at midnight. I guarantee you, he will pay a massive premium for a dentist because the pain is just unbearable. Second is purchasing power. Someone might desperately want an umbrella in a rainstorm, but if their pockets are totally empty, they aren't a viable market for you. Third is being easy to target. Can you actually locate these people without jumping through a million hoops? And fourth, a growing market. Look, an entrepreneur trying to sell printed newspapers today is going to struggle because it's a shrinking market. But pivoting to sell medical masks during a health crisis, that puts you in a massively growing one.
So, the crucial point here, the golden rule of marketing math you have to remember, is that a starving crowd will always beat the strength of your offer, and the strength of your offer will always beat your personal persuasion skills. Honestly, it's time to stop relying on a slick sales pitch and start finding desperate markets.
All right, Section 3. Once you have your starving crowd, we arrive at the absolute centerpiece of this explainer, cracking the value equation.
Hormozi argues that you shouldn't just arbitrarily slap high prices on things. You can only charge $1 million if you are actually delivering more than $1 million in value. And this value, it's engineered through a very specific equation. The goal is to maximize the top 2 variables, the dream outcome, meaning how closely does this match what they deeply desire, and the perceived likelihood of achievement, do they actually believe your thing will work? But at the exact same time, you have to aggressively decrease the bottom 2 variables, the time delay to get those results, and the effort and sacrifice required from the customer.
And this brilliantly illustrates the equation in the real world. Let's compare meditation to a stress relief pill, like Xanax. Both of these aim for the exact same dream outcome, right? Reduce stress. But meditation takes a long time to master. That's a huge time delay, and it requires immense discipline, which is high effort. A pill, on the other hand, takes literally almost 0 effort to swallow, and it kicks in fast.
Now, setting aside our personal opinions on long-term holistic health, purely from a business math perspective, this perfectly explains why fast, low-effort solutions turn into massive, billion-dollar industries. Okay, let's move to Section 4, building a Grand Slam offer. It's time to take that theoretical math and turn it into a practical blueprint.
This all comes down to a 5-step creation process. Let's say your market's goal is weight loss. Step 1 is identifying that specific goal, like lose 20 kilos in 6 months. Step 2 is to just brain dump every single problem standing in their way. Things like eating healthy is way too expensive, or I just don't have time to cook. For step 3, you flip those problems into solutions. For example, you create a module on how to prep a cheap, delicious diet. Step 4 is deciding how you're actually going to deliver it. Is it a video course, a PDF, maybe one-on-one consulting? And finally, step 5 is where you trim and stack.
Now, what's really interesting about this next bit is the trim and stack phase, because we have to filter our delivery methods super carefully. Look, if your solution is to personally drive to someone's house, buy their groceries, and cook for them, yeah, that is incredibly high value, but it comes at a massive cost to your time. It is completely unscalable. You have to trim away those high-cost solutions and focus strictly on stacking up things in the low-cost, high-value quadrant. We're talking scalable digital guides, templates, or recorded video tutorials that you create just once and can sell infinitely.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the 5 elements of irresistibility. We've built the logic, now let's add the psychology.
A logical offer officially becomes a completely irresistible grand slam when you inject these 5 elements to essentially force a yes. 1. Scarcity. Limit the quantity available so it feels super exclusive. 2. Urgency. Limit the time they actually have to buy it. 3. Bonuses. People absolutely love extras. If you're selling a pen, throw in a premium pen holder for free. It massively spikes the perceived value. 4. Guarantees. If you genuinely believe in your product, offer a crazy guarantee to completely remove the buyer's risk. And 5. Name. Package the whole shebang together under a catchy, magnetic title.
What's really fascinating is seeing these exact principles applied in the real world by the creator of our source material today, the Seekin channel. Rather than burning a ton of cash on ads, which, let's be honest, often just breeds distrust anyway, they focus heavily on organic brand building. They utilize their high-value knowledge by hosting free e-meets for business owners. It's this brilliant, low-cost, high-value, scalable delivery method that generates massive goodwill, establishes deep trust, and seamlessly brings in highly qualified leads. It is literally the framework functioning perfectly out there in the wild.
So, which brings us to you. I want you to look at your own business, your own product, or even that side hustle you're working on. Ask yourself right now, what crazy, completely risk-free guarantee can you add today that makes your customer feel genuinely stupid saying no? Think about how you can minimize their effort and maximize their outcome. Take these frameworks, completely disrupt your market, and start building your very own Grand Slam offer. Until next time, keep learning and keep building.